Hi, my name is Jerem Skarda, and I'm going to be talking about a poem called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. Some background information that I was reading up on this poem here is that William Wordsworth commented that he wrote this poem after having walked with his sister, I believe, and having kind of a moment where he felt really peaceful and happy with it, and he wanted to capture that moment in a poem. So I'm going to read the poem first to you guys right here. So I wandered lonely as a cloud by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er valley and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in banquet or in pensive mood, they flashed upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with peace, pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. So first I want to kind of to go over a few of the, I guess, more structural things about the poem. So the poem follows a rhyming pattern of A, B, A, B, C, C for each stanza. So each stanza is the paragraph, and that means that the first line rhymes with the third, A, and then B, B for the second and fourth, and then the last two. And that continues out through the whole thing. There were also some structural things with kind of how he's talking about just people or a group of entities. So in the first stanza, he talks about himself being lonely. And then in the last one, he goes back to being lonely, while in the middle, he talks about like the group of golden daffodils or the many stars or the waves, although he's still talking about the daffodils here. And then towards here at the bottom as well, there are a couple words that maybe not everybody would know. Jocund, I looked up, and it has to do with being kind of joyful and happy. As well down here with vacant and pensive, that has to do with kind of more of like a somber mood or quiet, deep in thought, that kind of idea. What does this mean, right? Starting off at the beginning here, it's talking about I wandered lonely as a cloud. I think that's beautiful imagery. Clouds are kind of very up high. They're slow moving, at least from our perspective, right? They're not in a rush. They're kind of somber, very peaceful, and that's a tone that's throughout this entire poem of peace, and particularly peace with nature and that kind of imagery. So he says he's flying high over valleys and hills, like he's passing over this whole landscape, taking it all in, and that it's all nature and peaceful once again. And then he talks about this, the next couple lines, this crowd, a big group, right? Something that he's observing but not a part of. And this kind of has, at least to me, a kind of almost depressing kind of feel to it, that he's observing it and that he feels initially sad. He sees them besides the lake, beneath the trees, right? They're in this own environment, something that he's distant from. And then they're dancing in the breeze, although he's way up high observing this. So then as the next stanza kind of goes on, and he's talking more about this nature and continuing that rhyming pattern, that keeping kind of a somber attitude and feel and peace throughout the whole thing. He talks about how the stars and the Milky Way that stretch above him, once again distant, but that they're also connected to this scene down below him through this imagery of a bay, some sort of body of water, a lake, that they're there with the daffodils, and that they are as well, because of the wind brushing against the water, dancing as well, so that all of this nature is connected and at peace and in harmony. And then, even though these waves and the stars are beautiful and dancing, he goes back again to the first stanza with the daffodils, when he refers to that they outdid the sparkling waves in glee, or as well with the stars. And then he refers to himself now. In this line right here, with a poet could not be gay, he's now connecting the environment and the nature to himself. And even though he feels somber and distant, it's broken through him, right? Like it's breaking through, and he feels the joy and the peace. With the word jocund, I think he really ties in a kind of peaceful happiness that I think everybody is seeking for. And then this line right here where he says, "I gazed and gazed, but little thought." I think that line brings so much power about how he as the cloud, or he as the poet, is reflecting again and again on this scene, and he's unable to really think about anything else, or really be able to um, even take in all the wealth, or all the senses of peace and beauty that he's seen in this scene of nature. And then this last stanza kind of brings it back to reality, that he's now in his house, or wherever he is on his couch, right? And he's in a vacant or pensive mood where he's somber, maybe a little sad, right? In deep thought, really kind of thinking about his life, thinking about things. And then all of a sudden, this scene of nature flashes upon him. And all of that beauty of simplicity and peacefulness washes back over him. And then he's able to have peace with, even though he's not there, like the cloud wasn't there, he's able to kind of participate in that scene and feel at peace there. I think that's kind of what this poem is really trying to tell us, is that we can find peace even in the most difficult, somber moments, by the peace around us, the nature, that we can be able to reflect on that even when we're not there, that we're able to be a part of it even when we're distant. I think that's kind of what this poem is going for. Hopefully you guys have some ideas that can help me out a little bit more, but I think that's what William Wordsworth was trying to teach us. Thank you.